Well, here we are back on the channel. I'm going to be showing more of your images. In fact, I have so many of your images that you guys have sent in to me to feature on my YouTube channel that I don't know, I'm going to be here for weeks sorting through these images. But you know, that makes me so happy because I really want to thank you for the support that you give me on the channel here. So this channel is not about me. It's about Nightscape photography, and it's about our passion for what we do. And you know, I'm just seeing such a glimpse of that through your eyes, and that's why I want to feature your images here on the channel. So here we go again this week, and I'm looking forward to just keep them coming. Keep sending more images. I don't know how long this is going to go for, but it'll be as long as it takes. I want to try and feature every single image that I get sent through, or at least every person that sends through images. So I'll see how I go. In the meantime, have a look at these beauties. Our first Nightscape photographer this week is John Callery from the United States. And this absolutely beautiful image is from Washington State, Mount St. Helens National Volcanic Monument. And this was taken this year, not too long ago. It's a panorama along the Devil's Elbow Trail. This is shot with a Sony a7R4 with the Zeiss Loxia 21mm lens. So the foreground was taken during blue hour, 18 frames at ISO 500, f3.5, 1.5 second shutter speed per frame. The sky is 16 images at ISO 1600 at f2.8, 60 seconds per image, and tracked with the move, shoot, move tracker. So the foreground and sky were blended together in Photoshop using the Photoshop sky replacement. And that is gorgeous image. Now, our next image here is Mount Rainier National Park in Washington State. Also shot with the Sony a7R4, this time with the Sony 14mm f1.8 lens. So the foreground was taken at 9:52 p.m, one frame, ISO 400 at f6.7, 8 second shutter speed. So it must have been a fairly bright night at that stage, 9:52. The sky is taken at 1:41 a.m, so it's quite a bit later. One single frame at ISO 1600 f2.8, 120 second shutter speed. Also tracked with the move, shoot, move tracker. Now, John, these are simply amazing images, and I absolutely love them. These are fantastic. I'm very pleased for our next photographer is a 21-year-old from India, Yuda Sarkar, and this is fantastic. Yuda's using a phone, and it's a cheap mobile phone. And this first image you can see here is quite spectacular. And he didn't have a tripod for this, so he used a rock as a tripod. I'll tell you what, that's pretty adventurous. But anyway, this is shot at ISO 6400, f1.9, which is obviously the phone. Shutter speed of 30 seconds. This is a single frame with no flats, no darks, no bias, no nothing. Edited in Photoshop. So this is from Ramnagar in the West Bengal of India. This is awesome. So we've got a few more images here. And these were also taken with the phone, and you can see them here. And yeah, this one and another one. Love the tree. That is beautiful. Really nice. Yuda has left a story here from his best friend. He was out with his best friend. So this is from his best friend's perspective. So me and my friend Yuda were planning to capture the Milky Way. And guess what? We got there and saw it on the 2nd of March, so I presume that's this year. There wasn't so much fog around, so it was a good clear night. Now they're using a phone, a Realme 6, which is a very cheap phone, on a very cheap tripod, which is a Kodak brand, about $17 US tripod, he says. Oh dear. Now a couple of these are shot at ISO 2400 with a 15-second shutter speed. I think it's this tree one might be captured 30 frames in RAW. So there was a few vehicles passing by, and I think that's what light painted. Yuda's friend here, Avinash, has done the editing by the looks of this. So it's stacked in Sequator, edited in Photoshops. He says there were many problems, but he's not going to go through them here. And we're looking at the final results with a phone. Well, these are absolutely incredible. And I think well done, boys. Really, really good. So our next photographer is actually a good friend of mine, Ian Invarity. And Ian lives in South Australia. And as he says on his description here, you can see this gorgeous tree and the fog surrounding. In a recent YouTube video, he requested some more viewer photos, so attached is one of mine. And he's called this one, The Old Giant in the Fog. This is a picture of an old, weathered, but majestic gum tree on Muralana Scenic Drive north of Hawker in South Australia. That's not far from the Flinders Ranges where I was recently. This is a 4-shot vertical panorama taken with the camera in landscape orientation. Ian used a Nikon Z9 with a Sigma Art 28mm at f1.4 on an FTZ2 adapter. The shots were taken during astro twilight in the early morning in May 2022. Also with a sliver of moonlight. Additional lighting is from an off-camera flash and a small video light. No tracking, no stacking. This was only the second time I've had foggy conditions at Hawker in about 7 years. Wow, now Ian spends a lot of time in this part of the country. And by the way, Ian is also a David Malin Award winner, which is a very prestigious award here for astrophotographers in Australia. So Ian, well done my friend, this image is absolutely gorgeous. Now this is a real treat. Our next photographer is from the United Arab Emirates, Aways. And he says here, been watching the YouTube channel for a while, great work and please keep educating us. All images are taken in the United Arab Emirates. These images have been taken with a Canon 750D and a Samyang 14mm f2.8 lens. The first one with the people in it's a single exposure of 25 seconds. The panorama had the same settings but 16 images stitched together. And the last one is a stack of 30 images with the settings, all processed in Photoshop. And these are beautiful images, every one of them. I love that panorama. That is really, really nice. Look how clear that sky looks. And there is light pollution there on the lower horizon, but gee, really, really nice AWAS. Thank you so much for sending these images in. So this week we're really going international. Our next photographer is Giles from France, and he lives in Gémenos in Provence near Marseille. And wow, beautiful images here. Now he says, hello Richard, I'm a French photographer, so forgive me if my English is not so good. I'm a great fan of your work and I follow you on YouTube. Well, I'm really pleased to hear that, Giles. Now, he doesn't say what the camera he's using is here and what the settings are. So it's a bit of a stab in the dark. So I'm just going to go through the images, but have a look at these. These are just so beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I can see there's a bit of light around it, whether that's lit from a moonlight or perhaps just from that passing car. I think there's more than just the headlights of the car. Oh yes, there it is, there's the moon. And this looks absolutely gorgeous. Love these star trails. So it looks like a pretty wide angle lens, so probably about 14 to 16 millimeters, it'd be a guess, just by the distortion on that building. And there's one without the star trails. There's another angle, which I really like. Now there's light there. I'm guessing that's a bit of light pollution on that building, but it doesn't look too bad at all. And here we have a, what I would suggest is a panorama. Yes, certainly a panorama of the Milky Way galactic core stretching right across the hills there. And oh, this is fantastic. All the way from France. I'm so pleased you sent it in. Thank you very much, Giles. So our next image is still in Europe. We're from Germany this time. And this is from Batascu. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. I'm living in Germany and here the weather is not so good, but I managed to take some shots of the Milky Way night sky. Here is the last photo I took of the Milky Way around April this year. And it's a stacked 14-shot tracked image shot on a Nikon D750 with a Samyang 14mm f2.8. Now, he says, I don't have a star tracker, but I built a barn door tracker last year that is working quite good. Well, I can see it's working well. This is fantastic. So this is 14 by 2.5 minute exposures at f2.8, ISO 1250 on that Nikon D750. He says, my processing skills are not really good, but I did my best. Well, I can say this image is fantastic. I would be very proud to say if this was one of my images. It's just really, really well done. all the way back to Australia. And this is Julie Clark, and I think Julie's from Queensland. And she sent through a few images here. So she says here that she's trying to learn how to use Lightroom. It's been a challenge, but I'll keep trying and hopefully my editing skills will improve. Well, we're looking at this first shot here. This was taken at Charlotte Plains in Queensland, and the Charlotte Plains station stay is unique as they have all of these old cast iron bathtubs set up around an artesian hot springs. And if you ever get a chance to visit Queensland, you should put this on the list. This photo was taken with the shower and toilet block in the foreground. Well, it doesn't look like a toilet block, but that's fine. This is shot on a Nikon D810 with a 24-70 lens, f2.8. It's shot at 31mm at ISO 12800. So that's an 8-second shutter speed, a very high ISO, but I'll tell you what, this is looking very, very nice indeed. Gee, the Nikon D810 is a really good camera for shooting nightscape photography. And our next image here, I love this. It's got a branch of a tree stretched across in the frame in the foreground, which is a little bit unusual, I have to say. But you've got the Milky Way galactic core there over the top of the ocean, and it looks like a bit of an island. So this is taken at Roslyn Bay near Yeppoon, one of my favourite spots to shoot the Milky Way, but it does present a few challenges. The main one being the resort that's opposite the beach, so the light pollution is a challenge, but it makes for interesting shadows and effects on the beach, and I can see that there. This was also shot with the same combination, Nikon D810 24-70. This is shot at 24mm f2.8, ISO 4000. That's a 20-second single frame. And we have one last one here. This is a silo taken at Brushwood near Coolamon in New South Wales. This was also a challenge as I didn't have much time to spend setting up for the photo the way that I would have liked. It was basically point and shoot in between passing cars. So I know exactly how you feel there, Julie, because I've had this happen to me as well. Also shot with the Nikon D810 24-70 f2.8. This one's at ISO 6400 with 20-second shutter speed. Now, I really like the way that Julie's varied her settings depending on the scene, and I think that's what we should do. We should look at each scene and judge it in its own right. So, fantastic, Julie. Thanks for sending these ones through. Now, for these images, we go all the way back over to the United Kingdom and Chris Collier. And Chris has sent two absolutely magnificent images through to us. And the first is, many thanks for the fabulous video content. Thank you very much. I live in West Cornwall in the UK, and we have wonderful dark skies here. We also have a number of locations, typically small harbours, coves and inlets, surrounded by steep coastal cliffs, where Milky Way compositions are only viable for short periods in the year. So I've attached an example, which is the Mullion Cove, where the Milky Way lines up with the mouth of the harbour for only 1 month a year with best conditions around the new moon. Managed to capture a composition this year where everything lined up. New moon, clear skies, etc. Very pleased with the results. I'll tell you what, so would I be. It looks like there's a bit of light painting there on this second image, and gee, it's nice. Love those boats in the foreground there, and the Milky Way standing vertically right in the center of the frame. It just works compositionally for me. So Chris hasn't actually told me what camera and lens he's using, which is a shame because I'd really like to be able to translate that information to you guys, but these images are magnificent. Really, really nice indeed. Thanks so much, Chris, for sending them through. Our next photographer is all the way from Italy, Alberto Trugni. And Alberto says, congratulations on your YouTube channel. It's one of my favorite, and thank you so much for inspiring me. Well, thank you so much. I live in the very light polluted North Italy in Milano, so I have to travel a fair bit to find nice dark skies. And then he says, by the way, Tatti sounds very Italian surname. Maybe you have Italian descent. Well, that is absolutely true, Alberto. My grandfather was Italian, so there you go. Anyway, I love Milky Way photography and Northern Lights, and have a look at this image. Northern Lights, what a beautiful shot that is. Oh dear. That is just absolutely stunning. Now, he's got a mixture of images here shot with either the Astro Modded D800 Nikon or a regular Nikon Z6. Most of them with the Nikon 14-24 f2.8. Some are single images, some are stacked with no star tracker, or panoramas. So there you go. Look at this. I could stare at this Aurora all day long. That is beautiful. And this star trail over the waterfall. Man, oh man. And there's Aurora there too. I don't know. He doesn't say where this is, but it looks like Iceland or somewhere like that. But gee, it's nice. And this panorama over the mountains. Wow. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous images. I just love the way that mountain peak is silhouetted by the light pollution, and that is where the Milky Way galactic core starts that bend across the sky. Oh, look at this. Gee, I don't know what that is, but it's lit well, and I love just the way that the sand in the foreground, or I don't know if it's snow or what it is, but gee, it looks good. And here we have a lake, Milky Way galactic core overhead. That doesn't look like a 14 to 24 lens, but it could be at the 24 end perhaps. But yeah, that's beautiful. Just that little bit of light on the water makes the image absolutely come alive. And here we have a star trail over some sort of old ruin. I love my ruins. That's very clean. Beautiful shot. Oh wow, Alberto, you have outdone yourself, my friend. These are absolutely superb. And so our final image for today comes from Michelle Diggins. Now, Michelle is a friend of mine. She's an amazing photographer from Victoria here in Australia, but she's been traveling, and her text here says, "Good morning, Richard. Hope all is well. Been traveling the Western Australian coast since April, and so many amazing places here. I've been blown away with how beautiful the landscape is, and the sunsets are awesome." Windmill, this first one, oh, what a glorious shot. Look at that glow in the sky. Now, here in Australia, we've had this amazing, rich red, orange, pink sunrise and sunsets. I think it's from the dust cloud from a volcano out in the Pacific Islands that exploded months and months ago, but we're still getting this remnant in the sky. And she's got this gorgeous windmill. That's a single image. And Michelle shoots with a Nikon Z6 camera, 20mm f1.8 lens. Have a look at that. I could stare at that all day. I love a spinning windmill. Oh, and here's a light painted, I don't know, wheels, some old relic from somewhere, but the way that Michelle light paints is beautiful. And she's got a number of images on her Facebook's page, which is, they're absolutely delightful. And there's that Milky Way in the background again. So I'd say she's done the light painting method here. The wheel, that's shot at 10 images stacked for noise reduction of the sky at f2.8, 10-second shutter speed at ISO 8000. So she doesn't mind boosting the ISO up on that Z6, and why not? The foreground is shot at f4.5, ISO 1250, 10-second shutter speed, and there's 6 images there. So yeah, that is amazing. Wow, look at that. This mound or this rock stack or something, but look at them all in the background there. I love the way that Michelle has lit this. This is amazing. And the specs on that one is also 10 sky stacked at ISO 8000, 10-second shutter speeds at f2.8. The foreground was 2 images, and she's just lit that from one side and then gone around to the other side and lit that. But I love the way that there's some lighting also in the background. So she's done a great job of bringing that out. And this last image here is the old truck. This is another Austin truck. Oh boy, this is right up my alley. I love that stuff. The sky is just one image at 10-second shutter speed, 20mm focal length, Z6 f2.8. And the foreground is 8 images at f4.5, ISO 1250 at 10-second shutter speeds. That is beautiful, Michelle. Well done, my friend. And these are all absolutely phenomenal images as well. So what about that? Weren't they absolutely fantastic? And I'm so pleased that you take the time to send them off to me to feature on the channel. So anyway, we're going to see some more next week and the week after, and probably the next weeks after that. I don't know how many it's going to be, but whatever it is, you keep them coming, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video. I've got quite a few things up my sleeve. I've been out shooting the Milky Way. Absolutely love it at this time of year. So I'll look forward to seeing you then. Have a good week.